100% worth the wait. Welcome back to another episode of The Get Up Girl. I'm your gal, Joanna Vargas, and one of my favorite topics, especially in 2022 coming up, I'm going to be talking a lot more about money, all aspects of money, raising the roof right here. And my guest is a financial expert. Welcome to the show, Katie Batres. She can, well, before we jump in, I do want to mention she just told me that she is going to be helping 90 families in 30 days. So, Katie, welcome to the show and tell us about this because this is freaking amazing.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here and be able to share with all of your viewers. Exactly what you were talking about right now. I'm doing a 30-day campaign where I'm trying to help 90 different families because they're easy. They're Zoom calls like this, right? And
Mhm.
they're going to be free financial needs analysis. So not only are you going to gain information from what we talk about today, but more specifically, we could sit down for 30 minutes to an hour with anyone who would like, completely complimentary, and
Mhm.
I'd be able to just give advice of certain products or services that would benefit them depending on what their specific financial situation or
Mhm.
goals are for 2022.
I love that you said that because one thing with money, it is for each individual person, each
Yeah,
individual family, where you are. There's not one size fits all. It's like,
like
let's sit down and let's see, where are you? You go into your car and then the GPS says, where are you? Right? I mean, you can't get the same directions if you're starting from San Diego and starting from another place. So I really love that.
yes.
Katie, now you were a dancer, or are you still dancing now? You were
For
modeling
fun, it's
for fun.
definitely a passion. Yeah.
Right? Touche. But my biggest question that's like burning me is, how did you get into money? I mean, what was it? Was there something just kind of, because I know my story with money, how it's a very long one, and how I'm just so intrigued by it. So tell us how you got into it.
For me, it was very random. It actually came right before the pandemic, so it was a great switch that I
Oh,
got
so
to
it's
make.
recent.
It's been pretty recent.
Yes.
It's only been
Okay.
maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
And your
Um,
Instagram is on fire. So you're really like,
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah.
everybody, yeah, follow her because she gives a lot of money tips, but keep going.
Yes, thank you. And so my passion was dancing. I didn't care about anything else. And I
Mhm.
came across who's my mentor now. Her name's Angela Umel. And I just loved her energy. She was so happy. She was very knowledgeable about finances in general. And it was just common conversation, but she would
Yeah,
bring it up. And I was like, oh, and she kind of got me on an appointment so that she could help me and my husband do our finances,
I see.
helped us. And when I sat down and realized, dang, a lot of people are in my same situation in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
And so, not only dancing, but I modeled for a very long time as well. And talking to my friends, seeing other dancers, it's great. You have lots of passion, it's fun. However, there's nothing when it comes to retirement. There's
Yeah.
really no benefits.
Mhm.
There's just nothing set up for you. And at the same time, you only last so long because your body's aging so much faster.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, we really have to get protected. We have to start retirement soon. There's just so many things I never thought of that I truly just wanted to bless the rest of the entertainment community with so that they would be on the right financial path as well.
Katie, what was your biggest takeaway? You said with you and your husband, with your finances and sitting
Yes.
down with your mentor. What was the biggest aha? Like, whoa, I didn't know that, or something like that.
Biggest aha was that I'm never too young to start. A
Okay.
lot of people are like, you know what? There's tons of influencers or whatever that say, oh, it's fine. When I turn 30, I could start from scratch if I
Out
wanted
of 10.
to.
Yeah. It's like Botox.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you could just start later. 100%. If you're listening to this, you're over the age of 30, it's never too late to start. But do you have an advantage starting early?
Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
always. And so it was crazy because she had done an analysis for me. And then we also did one for my brother, who's 5 years younger. And
Okay.
so me and my brother having the same plan, just investment wise, just because he's starting 5 years younger than me,
Wow.
that's costing me almost 1 million that could have been in savings
Yeah.
compared to where I'm starting right now. And because of that, I have to invest way more for the next 5 years just to catch up with my brother who doesn't have to invest that much because he's starting at a younger age.
Mm.
And
So,
that's wild.
Katie, what would you say though? Somebody that's listening and they're going, "Oh man, see, it's too late now. Forget it. Screw it. If you're only 5 years, I don't know, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, whatever the age is. Oh, dang, forget it." It's almost like
Right.
working out. You're like,
Right.
forget it. I'm going to eat the chips and screw it. What would
Yeah.
you tell that person?
It's still never too late. My first clients in when I started this firm with my parents, they're late 40s, almost 50s. I
Yeah.
sat down with them. I was like, you know what? I don't know if certain investments are going to fit best for them. And that's exactly going back to what we first said, is that not the same product or service is going to be well for every family.
Yeah.
So the one that I specifically was interested in, for me and my brother, we saw that big difference and it was great for us. For someone that might be a little bit older, there's going to be completely different products that are just as good for them. They're just going to be different, the way they work, the way you have to invest. But still, they have to sit down with somebody soon if they don't want to make sure that they're not working the rest of their life, right? They want to make sure that they're living on their own time. They have to sit down with somebody to get that organized.
That's really important. I see it
Yes.
such a parallel with fitness.
Yes.
It's compound interest with money is the same compound interest with your body.
Yes,
Just
I
do it. Yeah, when
agree.
you could do one sit up a day is better than none. It's still 365 more sit ups than if you did none a day, right? But you're going one, who cares? But it's something, right? Just start somewhere. I completely
Yes.
get it. And it's different for every body.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to want to do a different workout. Maybe walking's for you. So I see that with money. I see it's such a great correlation there. I love when I listen to a podcast or when I'm learning, I really want to take something away. Like I really want to
Mm-hmm.
go, okay, I could put that in my back pocket. I got a tool. I could put this in my tool belt. I wanted to give the listeners 3 tools, Katie, that they can start today,
Yeah.
sitting down with you or another financial advisor or not at all. What is the first thing that you would let somebody know that they can start doing in 2022 that's tangible, that's like, I can do that? What would you
Right.
say was the first tool?
The first one I would say is very broad, something that will work for people that are great at saving or someone that's in tons of debt and is like, but I
Yeah.
still have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And that would be, I got actually this from David Ramsey in one of his
Mm,
books where he said, just save your first $1,000 and do it as fast as you can.
got
This
it.
is going to be considered your emergency fund. And the way he kind of explained it is, what's the point of paying all your debt? Because that's what he kind of predominantly like teaches on, right? What's the
Yeah.
point of paying your debt when you have a random car accident? Oh man, well, I'm going to stop paying this now. And I'm just going to put all my money to this emergency fund, where he's like, you know what? No, make that the first step. Just have $1,000 liquid so that you can have it at any point. That way it doesn't stop you from whatever your financial goal is, which could be saving, which could be paying off debt. And the 2 ways you could do this, I know he always says have liquid cash, get it out of the bank and hide it in a closet or something like that, which you could easily do. For me, what made it easier is I use apps, right? Apps is the new modern way to do this.
Mhm.
And one app that I usually use
Mm,
is Capital. There's also Acorns. They're usually used to do investments, small investments, but I just use it as emergency savings,
mhm.
because you could set up rules. You could say, you know what, I want to
Yeah.
take $5 every Monday out of my account.
Okay.
Pretty soon you'll be at 1,000. It might take a little long,
Yeah.
but you'll be at 1,000 without even realizing it, because it's automatically going to draft it out of your bank account. You could do, I'm going to do $50 every couple days, and you
Right.
don't even have to think about putting it in
Yes.
savings. It'll just pull from it, and it makes it super easy to get that.
Katie, I love that because I want to share with you and everybody listening is that every year I create 10 targets, like 10 goals, and then like my one big one, right? And then I have like what I'm going to start this year, what am I going to stop doing, what am I going to face, what I'm going to embrace. It's like my little plan of the whole year. And I was really contemplating like, what do I want to really start doing? My start. And my start is I'm going to pay myself first 10% of anything, every single thing. And I think we talked
Right.
about this on the Instagram live. And here's the only difference between the years past and 2022. I was not consistent. Like this
Mhm.
app that you're talking about, it just, you don't even
Yes.
think about it. However, I want to think about it. In 2022, I want to be in it. I want to swim in it. I want to know every single thing. And I want that action of opening up my phone and then moving it, transferring it. And I love that app idea. So if I'm already doing 10%, well, what if I did a little bit more, but I wouldn't
Mhm.
even see it? So I'm going to do it two ways. So I just took what you said. I'm going to, okay, do that. Because when I pay myself first, Katie, I have this account where it's there so I can learn how to have money.
Mhm.
Because I want to talk about this a little bit more because I think there's more people that have this, and maybe am I just the only one? I can make money, Katie, like this. It's easy for me. I can create money. I am like a boss badass,
That's right.
right? But spending it, it's the
Mhm.
having it, Katie. It's hard for me to have it. It's
Yeah.
that it's burning a hole in your pocket feeling. It's burning a hole in my account, in my checking account feeling. So I'm going to spend it. So whenever I have it, I want to buy concert tickets. I want to buy this. I want to buy something else. It was hard for me, and it still is not as much to have it, not to
Mm.
save it. So, in my point of view, it's like you can make it, save it, and have it. And I think we don't talk about the having of it. The having. Can you actually have it and not spend it? Can you
Mhm.
just have it in your pocket and walk around and just feel like, dang, I got $1,000 in my pocket?
Yep.
Or if I had 1,000, I had to spend it. So I wanted to bring that up because if anybody else is like ding, ding, ding and has that as well. So these apps can really
Yes.
help me in like not even paying attention. Katie, that was a
Yes.
good one. Okay, so the first one is your emergency fund.
Mhm.
Okay, because I don't have an
Mm.
emergency fund. I have my fund. It's pretty high in money, but I have it just so I can learn how to have it. Now I could take money out of it if I want to.
Mhm.
I really don't want to.
Yeah.
And I know if I had a separate account to know that if the AC broke down, my tires, I could just take from it, not gonna feel like, dang, I just took out of my account, my
Right.
money.
Mhm.
So I like that. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that. Yay. Let's go to number two, hun. What would you tell everybody?
Number 2, I would definitely say is protection, and this is for obviously people that are older. This is usually more concerning when people have families or they're married or they're homeowners, and that's because it's great to make money. Maybe somebody's like, "Well, I'm in a great place. I have a house, making the payments, I have a family, so I'm doing well."
Uh-huh.
But a lot of times, and it's very surprising, I'll sit down with this person that's in their 30s, 40s, that seems like everything's in place,
Yep.
and no life insurance.
Hmm.
Um, and it's crazy to think like, okay, we're gonna get insurance on a phone, but it might never break. We're gonna have insurance on a car, may never get into an accident, but
Yeah.
we're 100% gonna pass away,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and so many people don't have insurance on their own life. And it's just crazy because it's like, okay, I'm glad that you guys worked hard, you have your house now, but what if something happens to you? You're not protecting everything that you worked so hard for. Now you have to
Mhm.
protect it, make sure it stays in the family, or just protect your family, right? Just protect your
Mhm.
kids, make sure that they're having a good life if anything were to happen to you. And I think a big one that, because people might be sitting like, yeah, I know that's something I have to do. Well, something a lot of families don't realize that it's not just money when you pass away. So a
Mhm.
lot of people are like, I'm not going to start it. I'm just putting big chunks of money away so that someone else gets it when I pass. That's why people that are like our age, right? They're kind of young. They're like, I don't want to do this.
When I leave, I'm gonna take it with me. Like,
Right,
screw everybody when I leave.
I'm not gonna take like, give it to someone else. They don't
Yeah.
think about it,
Mhm.
not realizing you can actually use it while you're alive now.
Yes.
And this is saving a lot of people's lives. I'm sure everyone listening has been around someone who's diagnosed with cancer, had heart stroke, got dementia, was unfortunately in a crazy accident. It doesn't mean that you may have passed away, but it definitely didn't allow you to maybe continue working. It
Mhm.
also made the medical bills were crazy expensive, right? Medical bills are the number one reason for bankruptcy. And
Mm.
so having certain policies where you're allowed to save money into it and it comes with living benefits or long-term care, it comes with those things now. Just like there's a new iPhone every single year, I always like just tell this to my clients when I'm on the calls with them, the finance industry is evolving just as fast. So you're
Yep.
allowed to use that money. Um,
Mhm.
Picture you on getting diagnosed with cancer. We know how expensive the treatments are, even with insurance. We see the GoFundMe's, the car washes, the food drives. Imagining getting that news and being able to do one call to your agent
Yeah.
saying, hey, unfortunately, this is what happened. I'll get my doctor's note sent over to your guys' email. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, we'll send you all the money you need for your treatments right over to you. it'll pay completely for your treatments. It's not, I hope I have the money to live. You're 100% going to have the money for treatments. Now you could focus on healing. And this is a really, really big aspect that a lot of people, it goes right over their head with life insurance. They never think about it.
Yes. Oh, Katie, when I got mine, is it UIL? Am I saying it correctly?
IUL.
IUL. I always flip them.
Yes.
IUL. Index Universal Life. Is that what it stands
Yes.
for? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Everybody, IUL. Learn it.
Yes.
I mean, here's the interesting thing, hun. I've taken money classes on the same, I think from your same company as well. And I've taken almost 10. And the point is, I still forget. I even had to ask you, do you know what? It's such a like a reminder, a
Right.
reminder again and again. It's like listening to that song. And when I learned that about, because I'm still in the old school mindset of the life insurance, right? And I'm going, oh my God, it makes such sense. Yes, like you just said, getting insurance for your life, just like on your phone. And when I got the IUL, I just felt better. It was like my shoulders relaxed. I just felt safe. I felt
Yeah.
secure. Just like you said, number
Mhm.
2 is protection. I did.
Yeah.
I just felt better. And it's taken out of my account every month. I have a business one and I have a personal one. And I just
Nice.
feel so much better.
Yeah.
It's this. And then I'm still doing the 10% to myself. And I'm going to add that 1,000 and the apps. So it's like even
Yes.
more, right? And I keep
Mhm.
adding and it's getting used to it. It's really like kind of like, okay, I got it. I can add one more, can add one more sit up. So good.
Yes.
And if everybody's listening, can you give, if they're like, what the heck's an IUL? Can you give like a little 30-second commercial on that?
Yeah, of course. So IUL, just like you said, stands for Index Universal Life. So let's hold on to the life part. That's the
Mhm,
life insurance.
mhm,
However, the index just means that whatever money you're putting into, you can actually have a cash value side, meaning that you could save money in there as well, which is awesome because a lot of people save money in different ways. Like, let's say mutual funds is a popular one. That's going to be tied to a variable market. Variables like the stock market, it goes up, down, up, down. On days it's green, you get excited. On days it's red, you're a little upset, like, I don't want to look at it, I'm losing money. Index is another type of account. So there's variable, up and down. Index is like a staircase. So when the market goes up,
yeah.
you make money, but when the market crashes, you don't lose one penny. So you flatten out. Maybe you
Mhm,
didn't make money, but you certainly didn't lose any. When the
mhm,
market goes back up, you make that money. If it
mhm.
goes down, you don't lose a dime. And
Yes.
so this is a very popular one with families, especially who are like, I'm not trying to lose any money.
Mhm,
You're still going to make great, great gains on it.
mhm,
However, I think protecting what you make in the long run
mhm.
ends up accumulating way more money than when it's just in the stock market. So although the stock market's great, I'm not saying don't do that. You should have your money in different investments. And this is certainly one that you guys should at least learn about. It's not for everybody, but if it's for you guys, I would definitely take advantage of it because it's just another way to protect some of your money. So when you see the market crashing, okay, maybe those investments didn't work out, but I know that there's a big chunk of money right here that I'm going to be protected no matter what, and it's still growing.
Yes. Katie, the first time I learned this, or people that were in the class were like, this even exists? This is not a
Right.
scam. Are you sure? Like, I'm not going to lose my money. I think we're so taught to think that it goes up or down. There's
Yeah.
no, like you said, not a loss. But when it does
Right.
go up, like you said, it can go up 25%. You're like, dang. Okay. But when
Yes.
it crashes, well, then you just go, you don't lose anything.
Yeah. Just flatten out.
Flatten
Mhm.
out. I was like, this really exists? Really? That was the
Right.
first thing, like you said, your takeaway was that you're never too young to start. My takeaway was, what the heck? More people need to know this. Like, that was mine. Like, what? Are you serious? It's so freaking simple. And we're making it so
Mhm.
complicated. And
Yeah.
that's it? Oh my gosh. Yes. Sign me up. I totally get it. And I can get how people are going, it's too good to be true. I don't get it. Like, yeah.
And you
Interesting.
know why I think the reason why many people don't know about it is
Mm,
because it's always marketed to the wealthy.
mm,
Most of America isn't
mhm,
wealthy. We're middle class to high income families. These are out there for everybody.
mhm,
However, to get the information, you
mhm,
usually have to pay a broker like myself or someone else in the firm. You would have to pay them a couple hundred to a couple thousand per month
mhm.
just to sit down with you and educate you about this. So someone in that position usually won't even sit down with you unless you have $250,000 or more just to invest into a product like this.
Mhm.
However, can we do it at every range? Yeah, I'm sitting down with families every day that they can only save $250, $300. That's enough to start something like this. And
Yeah.
luckily for firms like ours, where we're allowed to sit down with families complimentary, you guys don't have to pay us to do that. We get that education to people for free now. But all of this is word of mouth. And so that's why so many people are like, well, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's just because you haven't taken the time to sit down with financial
Mm.
professionals.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And to give everybody kind of a perspective, what would you say are the ranges, Katie, to invest? Myself, I send 300 a month. Let's be real. So
Nice.
everybody knows,
Yes.
okay, can I do 300? What is the lowest someone can put away, Katie? And then what have you seen in the high ranges?
So the lowest you could do, in all honesty, you could do 100, 150, depending
Okay.
on your age. If you're fairly young, you could still do that and still get some gains. But if I sit down with someone and I know the best interest, it wouldn't be worth it to start it for 100, to be honest. You wouldn't
Understood.
make that much. There's
Okay.
different products that are better.
Yep.
I would say 250 would be the minimum. So 300 is
Interesting.
great because
Okay.
250 is the minimum where I'm like, okay, we have to at least put this much for it to even be worth it for you,
Okay.
or I'm probably going to market a different type of product for you. In the high ranges, I've seen a lot, right? And so because it is tied to life insurance, it is regulated. You can't go too crazy because it's very easy to launder money, right? So there's lots of laws. But the highest that I've personally seen is 2,000, and
2000. Okay.
that's only with my clients personally.
Yeah.
That's not other people in my firm's clients. I'm sure it goes
Mhm.
higher, but the amount you put in has to match, excuse me, how much life insurance you have. So if you only have life insurance for 100,000, they're not going to let you put away 4,000 a month, right? They're going to say that doesn't add up. That's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of the ranges that I've seen.
That's really good information. I was thinking about that. Let's say, for example, Katie, I have a newborn and I want to start them on an IUL. Can I do $25 a month? Would I start a newborn on 250?
So I would say you don't have to do 250 for sure. I don't even know if they'd allow you to put that much in it because they're babies, right? So their net worth and all of that for life insurance, it's not going to be very high at
Okay.
all.
Uh-huh.
The most common I've seen, the only one I've really seen is 100 bucks, 100 bucks a month for a newborn or any
Okay.
child, any juvenile policy is a very safe way to go. I'm sure you could put a little bit more, not too much, obviously, because they're younger. However, that's a safe start to just 100 bucks a month. I'm not even going to think about it. Just let it withdraw. And it's crazy because just starting with that can actually create this fund to become $1 million fund for that child
Mhm.
once they get to retirement age, if they keep up with it, because they started so young. It
Okay.
uses compound interest to just grow more and more every single year.
And the cool thing on that, by the time that kid is 18, the inflation, $100 will be like 20 bucks. It'll be like nothing,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'll just stay
Yes.
at the 100. Wow. Okay, that's good to know because I was wondering about that. Like I have a niece and nephew, and I'm like, if I started one for them, can I, because they're younger, can I just put a
Right.
little bit, but at
Yeah.
least 100? Okay, that is great information. 250 average. Please don't allow this to scare you if you're like, dude, I can't do 250. But like you said, if Katie, if you don't see it, I wonder if it just like
Yeah.
mine, I don't see it anymore. And all of a sudden it's been, gosh, I don't know, 5 years. I don't think about it
Yeah.
anymore. It just takes out, takes out, takes out. So
Yes.
good. I love this information. Let's go to number 3. What would the third thing be?
The third thing would be already thinking about retirement, and that's for anyone that's close to retirement, like my parents were. When I sat down with them, they didn't even have a plan. They're like, "Oh, to be honest, I just didn't think I was going to retire. I didn't know if it was a possibility."
Mm,
And also for someone that's just getting out of college, it's like, why? Well, I'm still young, right? It's okay.
mhm.
When it comes down to retirement, a lot of people say, go to school, get a good job. It'll come with the plans, the 401ks, CalSTRS, CalPERS, whatever. Depends on what type of job you're into, right?
Mhm.
There's tons of different retirement plans. However, what I always recommend is for people to get an individual retirement plan. Get something that's outside of your employer. Because if we look at the statistics nowadays, I think it's like 30% or less actually stay with the same employer. And
Mhm.
that's for the millennials. Think about Gen Z, everyone that's about to get into the working force. The average right now is staying at the same place for 2 years or less.
2
So people
years. Dang.
2
Wow.
years and then on to the next thing, on to the
Yeah,
next thing.
yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they're not landing great jobs. It just means that their interests are always developing. There's always new technology. Like things are moving very fast nowadays.
Mhm,
And with things so accessible, they just are switching it up. I'm really not sure why they're doing it so fast, but
mhm.
2 years is actually considered long term for someone our age now
Yeah.
because they're just not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And because of that, you don't want a bunch of 401ks lined up at a
Mhm.
bunch of different employers.
Yeah.
You're gonna turn 60 and be like, "Oh, I have 100 in there, 1,000 in there. That was a good year."
You get 27 checks a month.
Yeah, and you're not gonna have almost anything rather than if it was
Yeah.
all in one account, then at least that big chunk of money will
Yeah.
continue to compound interest. It's not gonna happen because people are
Mm.
switching employers so much. So for me, what I had just recommended to my sister-in-law actually, she's going through the same thing. She's like a year or 2 older than me. She has a very high paying job already, but she's like, "But I'm gonna want more in the next couple of years and then more in the next couple of years." And so what I had recommended is, well, of course, they come with great benefits, great 401k plans, and different types of retirement plans, but there's no point if you're planning on moving so often. If you
Mm.
pull that, even if you pull that money out, there's always going to be a penalty. And because you're not there for so long, it's going to be a big chunk of that penalty that they're taking out. So always trying to start something on your own. And whether you sit down with me or anyone else that you guys may trust, just see what your options are because there's tons of different products that you're able to use or even investments that you could turn into your own retirement account. That's
Mhm.
safer because it'll stick with you no matter where you go.
Mm. Okay, really good. I'm thinking every time I'm like really thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
everything. Let's review it, Katie. So the first
Mhm.
one is to save that first $1,000. So
Yes.
you feel good. You have an emergency fund so that you can continue paying off your past expenditures, your debt, and not have to stop one if
Right.
something comes up. And you know what I was thinking as well? I wanted to throw that out there. And people are like, how do I save $1,000? A great way is to sell stuff on Marketplace or
100%.
offer up or whatever those things. And I know I learned that from Dave Ramsey. He's like, do you know
Yes.
how much money is in your house if you just started selling stuff? I'm like,
Yes.
he's right.
Hmm.
You know how much money I made during the pandemic? At least, I'm just throwing it out there. $10,000 selling stuff. The
See, it's
whole
possible.
it is possible.
Yes.
$50 here, $200 here, selling this. And I actually, Katie, learned how to sell. I learned how to talk to people. I mean, I've always
Yes.
known how to do that, but it increased it.
Yeah.
There's some people that say, I don't want to deal with these people. I get it. But it really helps you sharpen your money skills, your talking skills, your negotiation skills, your reading people's BS and energy. So I really think that's a great thing. And to learn and to get that money and then putting that 10% aside and really
Yeah.
writing it down and going, look what I created. And
Mhm.
the liberty, the not the liberty, but it was like such a gift to be able to stay home during the pandemic and do this, and sell it because I had a lot
Yeah.
of time on my hands. But everybody, do that if you want to find your first $1,000. And so for that emergency fund, and you want it liquid. The second one was protection,
Yes.
talked about. Okay,
Mhm.
the IUL,
Yes.
protecting you and your money and your family. And then the third one is thinking about retirement, all ages,
Yeah.
whatever age you are, start to think about it. Katie, I want to get your point of view on this. Do you think in the future, let's just say with Gen Zers, and I wonder what the next generation is going to be called? Gen, what's the next gen? Z
Right.
is the last letter. What else is there? But
I heard that they were calling them the Zoomers. Like,
what?
we have the boomers, but then the next generation is gonna be the Zoomers because everything's on Zoom now. I don't know if that's true or if it's gonna stick, but I've heard that a couple times now, and I thought it was hilarious.
I just hit my head because I laughed so hard right now. That would be
Yeah.
hilarious. But you're right, the boomers, because there was a big baby boom, but there was a big Zoom boom. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, with with the Zoomers, let's say, do you think retirement is going to be a thing of the past? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that like so
Oh,
old
yeah.
school?
Yeah, 100%, like, traditional retirement, yeah,
Yes.
for anyone, even right now,
Yes.
and for people that are in college looking to get that great job with the retirement plan, this is just what I've seen in a lot of companies, especially big ones that everyone wants to work for. They're getting rid of the 401k plans unless you work there for a certain amount of years. Right now,
Oh,
I think the bare minimum is you have to be somewhere for at least 2 or 3 years before you qualify for a 401k plan.
interesting.
Um,
Okay.
Even for a 401k plan, the companies used to match. Remember, like they'd
Yep.
say, "Hey, if you want to put 4% in, we'll put 4% in." They used to match like that. A lot of times they're saying, "Hey, you can have a 401k plan with our company, but it's optional. If you
Hmm.
want to put your money in, cool, but we don't even match anymore." Many companies are doing that. Um, Pensions are completely gone. Social
Hmm.
Security is about to be dissolved in by the year 2035, I believe.
Hmm.
So anyone that's waiting and planning on using all three of those retirement plans, it's probably not going to happen. And that's why we teach on retirement a lot when I sit down with people, because if they're not prepared, it's not going to be there for them. They can't rely on their employer anymore because people just
Hmm.
can't promise money they don't have anymore.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I wonder if that word is going to mean something completely different in the next 10, 20 years.
yeah.
Like, do you even retire? Or I wonder if the
Right.
retirement, quote unquote, age is going to go lower, where people are, I think the gap, and I wonder if the gap is going to get so big from less middle class. So if you're
Yeah.
able to increase your income younger,
Yeah.
like people that are hitting millions younger, you
Mhm.
can retire younger. And when I say retire, I mean like you're not grinding.
Right.
Do you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, yeah, you have like a side thing. You're still making good income and you're feeling great, but we're not grinding the way at least our parents did. With the like, I
Yeah.
have to do this. So that's where I think retirement and work, the
Yeah.
40-hour work week, is just going to look different. That's what I see. I'm like,
Oh, I agree, and you saying that reminds me, because a lot of times I'll sit down with people and I'll say, "What's your retirement age?" And people are like, "I don't plan on ever retiring. I want to stay
yeah,
active."
yep.
And essentially, I'm like, "Oh, well, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, do you want to survive? Do you want to have to work because you're trying to survive and put a meal on the table till you're 90 or 100 and you pass away? Or do you want to say, you know what? I'm actually provided for. I think I'm gonna get a part-time now, or I'm gonna
Because I want
volunteer.
to.
I'm gonna do something I'm like passionate about on the side, but I have money." That's what I'm talking about. Because of course people want to stay active. They're not going to stay at home do nothing, but you don't want to have to work and grind until your 80s and 90s, because we're seeing that a lot right now.
That is what I'm talking about. But
Yes.
I couldn't articulate it, but you totally articulated. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. Because in my head, I'm like, I don't want to retire, but you're so right. It's the money aspect of it. I
Yeah.
want to work because I want to. One of my things, Katie, I want to work at Disneyland when I'm like 90 and I want
Yes,
to take
that would
tickets.
be amazing.
I think it would be so fun. I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to do that. I think that sounds like so fun. And not because I have to, just because I want to. And I'm a cute little lady and I'm just talking to
Yes.
people and meeting people. And I'm like, I'm good. I got my nice house. Everything's wonderful. I live on the beach and I work at Disneyland because I want
Yep.
to.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. At any moment I could quit.
Yeah, exactly. Stress free. You're there because it's fun, but you're not forced to be there.
Forced.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Gosh, these are great conversations, more and more. And like I said at the beginning, if you've heard this before, listen to it again.
Yes.
Yeah, that was another big aha for me, was like, I got to hear this again, again and again and again. Because before my young, like when I in my late teens, early 20s, and I was learning money and I was reading books and things of that nature, I was like, oh, I got it. I had that mentality. Oh, I already heard that.
Right.
I got it. I already took
Yeah.
that workshop. Girl, take it again and
Yeah.
take it again and take it again until you can repeat it and you know it left, right, forwards, backwards. And I don't yet. I don't know it every aspect. I'm like, I want to know it
Mhm.
so well down to the penny. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh,
agree, and I would say for a lot of people, even if you have sat down with a financial professional, make sure that your relationship with them, if you're not gonna go to seminars and read
mm,
books and do all this stuff on your own like you were saying that you do, because a lot of people aren't gonna do that, but at bare minimum, have a good relationship with whoever your agent is. For example, I keep in contact with every single one of my clients. Every holiday, I'm saying what's up, every birthday, I'm saying happy birthday, and at the same time, we do annual reviews. So just because I sat with them last year doesn't mean I'm not going to sit with them again this year. I'm going to sit down with them again, re-go over, hey, let's remember why you wanted this. Let's remember why you chose this specific investment and how important it is to you and your family. Because sometimes you just have to be reminded. After a while, you think of it as a bill. I have to invest in my future. You feel like you're paying the car bill, and they'll cancel whatever investment, they'll pull all the money out. And that's the worst thing you can do, because once you get reminded of it, okay, well, now I'm starting from scratch. Now I remember why I needed that so bad. And that goes to what you were saying, pay yourself first. Like something one of my mentors always says, which I really like, is every month you have a line of people at your door like this, right? You have the car guy, the insurance, home, property tax, whatever that may be, and they're lined up. And you're just sitting there like, here you go, here you go, here you go. And then you're at the end of the line. So picture another you and you're at the end. And most of the time you're like, sorry, I have nothing for you.
Yeah.
But if people switch their mentality just like you did and say, you know what, I'm putting myself at the front of the line. Hey, VIP access for Katie over here. I'm going to pay you first. I'm going to pay you whatever I put in my investment, whatever that may be. Go ahead. Ooh, I'm running short. These are bills you have to pay. You're running short. You're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
You may not
Marketplace,
make it
sell
happen.
something.
Yeah,
You'll
you're
make
going
it
to sell
happen.
something. You're going to have a side hustle. You may not make it happen for yourself though. And that's where a lot of people are lacking. If you're at the end, I don't have to do a garage sale or do a side hustle. It's just me. I'll do it next month. But when it's the car insurance or the car, they're like, hey, you need to pay rent. Okay, I'm gonna make sure it happens no matter what. So if we just switch that, pay yourself first, force yourself, and then you're gonna start realizing, oh, I'm coming up with a lot more ways to make money now.
Yes.
It's a great trick to trick your mind into just working more, making more, working smarter.
Okay, I really like that picture.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, I like to take tools, and that's one that I will stick with.
Yes.
I'm a very vision person. Like I have to picture things, and I will picture a line and my face. Like I think
Yes.
right now with the holidays, I think of Ebenezer Scrooge. What's that movie? Christmas Carol.
Yes.
And
Yes.
with, with little Tiny Tim. You know, Tiny Tim, he was like
Yeah.
Bob Cratchit's kid or whatever, and you just felt like, oh, poor Tiny Tim. I saw myself in the back of my own line, like Tiny Tim in
Wow.
Scrooge. And then
Yeah.
when Scrooge comes around and then he wants to help Tiny Tim, I thought of that. I saw myself as like this little helpless kid in the back of the line. That is going to stick with me. I want to be at the front, VIP. I get bottle service. I get the best. I don't go to the back. And Katie, you know what's so funny? I don't go to the back. I'm that girl that's like, no, I don't do nosebleed seats. I don't do
Good.
back.
Yeah.
If I have to wait in line, I'm not going. Like I'm such a snob when it comes to that stuff.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna be a freaking snob when it comes to paying me first.
Yeah.
Dang, that was good. I
Yeah.
hope everybody listening, if that rang for you, take it, because that's gonna be my vision board. I'm gonna have a picture of me right in the front, VIP,
Yep.
with your hands like that. Gosh, that was good. Okay, you're gonna be helping 90 families. So
Yes.
if anybody listening wants to be part of that family, or if it's just themselves, right?
Yeah.
Singles,
Individuals welcome
that's a
too.
family. Yeah, your friends, that's the family. And
Yes.
visit Katie on her Instagram. She has great reels, great videos, great information about money all the time, like little tips that we just talked about today. Go to katierose.bae. That's BAE. It's also in the show notes. You can DM her there and then set up an appointment. And
Yeah.
just sit down. And like you said, it's totally complimentary. You just want to help
Yeah.
90 people. And for reals, I know like she just really wants to help people. And if it works for you, awesome. Yes, set up your IUL, or maybe if it's another thing that's going to help you, something
Yes.
else. Katie,
Mhm.
anything else that you wanted to throw out there?
No, that's it. No matter where you are financially right now, tons of debt, student loans, if you've never saved before in your life, just anything that you may have questions on, I'd love to sit down with you guys, just talk you through it. There's no obligation to have to work with me, but it would be great just to meet you guys. I'll give you all the information you need, and we can always go from there. So,
Okay. I love it. Yeah, because as you're talking, I really want to add, I was thinking those two apps and any other apps, Katie, let me know. I'm going to put them in the show notes.
yes.
Somebody can just set money aside. Start
Yeah.
with 50 cents. Start with something,
Yeah.
just keep adding whatever until it gets to $50, $100 that you can set aside for your emergency fund and you don't see it.
Yes.
This was so beneficial. I mean, I am so expanded, and I'm excited for my 2022 for my money, financial reality.
Yes.
That's my big one. Yes.
We should all be excited.
Yes, I'm so excited. 2022 for me is money. If anybody else wants to jump on the bandwagon with me, because I want to spread this more. That's why
Mhm.
when we talked on Instagram, girls, like we need to talk again, and I will
Yeah.
definitely have you back. More money talks, more
Yes.
actual information that people can walk away with and change 1% of your
Yeah.
finances. If it's 1%, just better than nothing. Let's
Yep.
do something. Thank you, Katie. Congratulations on everything. Keep
Thank
doing what you're
you.
doing. Great work. Love you all. Thank you for listening, and we will see you and hear from you next time. Bye.